Stan, you talked about the process. You have a little bit different, I guess, look around the spine of the team. So you go and get Howard. You've got a kid, Savoy, that might push through. I think you signed Thomasak. You've got some players that, aren't household names yet, but is the thought process to get a little bit younger, maybe try and allow some of these younger guys to push through and maybe replace some of the players that you lost last year, or just have a different look around some of the older players that have left?
Yes, I would say that's a great observation, and that has been a focus for our team. We were more of an experienced veteran team last year, and we still are. I mean, it's not like we changed a lot of players out, but I'm pretty excited to see how some of these new players come in and give our team a little bit of a different look. And I think the biggest thing you're excited about with younger players is the potential for them to grow throughout the course of the season. Like, I don't have expectations that they're going to be, elite right out of the gate first game of the year, because it's a tough league, and they've been really, really good players at lower levels, whether it was junior or college or the American League. In the case of Savoy, he was a really good player in Bakersfield last year, and he got just a brief introduction to the NHL. So I think it's exciting to see that we're going to have to work with them and be patient, but also help them come along so that they can add something to the mix. And I think that's probably something we didn't have last year. Like, we didn't see a lot of growth from within. So like, the players who were good in November were good again in April. But I've always been a believer that for your team to really take that next step, you need to have some internal progression and growth. And you can certainly supplement that by adding new players down the stretch, and that's something we're going to be focused on as well. But you don't want that to be your only way of getting better. You'd like to see some growth from within your team. And I think the players you mentioned, in addition to David Thomasak, is a player he's not a young guy because he's played a lot in Europe, but I think he's new to the NHL, so I think he's going to be able to show hopefully some growth as well, and take on a role and increase that as we go along. So, we have a lot of stability with our defense. I think that's it's in a really good place. Looking at our team last year, and we've got everybody coming back, and I expect that to be a strength of our team. And trying to work some of these new players in and see how they can take steps, not just to make the team, but also to push forward and take bigger role as the year progresses.
With Stan Bowman, the GM of the Oilers. So as much as we have talked about McDavid and Draisaitl on this show, I would say we've talked about your goaltending as much, if not more, over the last couple of years. And as of today, it's still Skinner and Pickard. You're the two guys that have been your starters for the last couple of years, or your tandem goalies the last couple of years. Take us through the off season in terms of how we got here, Stan, and why do you still have faith in those two guys as your tandem goalies?
Well, I think we did make a change with the goalie coach, and I think that sometimes change is good, and I think a little bit of a different perspective maybe can unlock certain guys. And I think in our case, we're very optimistic that Stewart's going to be able to take that next step. I mean, he's still a pretty young goalie. As far as the league goes, he's kind of just coming into the prime years of his career. And he's shown that he certainly has the capability to make big saves and win big games for us. And I think what we're trying to do is maybe bring out the consistency in his game a little bit more. I think his best game is excellent. I mean, we saw that in the playoffs last year. So really, how can we work with the strengths that he has and to get the consistency to his game? And I think, it's early here. I've just had a chance to talk to Stu the last few days as they're doing their captain skates, and I was really excited to hear sort of his outlook on this upcoming season. And he seems to really have a good relationship with our new goalie coach, and there seems to be a lot of good things happening, not just the way that he approaches the game technically, but his mental outlook on things. And So I'd like to see how that goes, and we know that Pickard has had a great run as he's a battler. He finds a way, and I think that's what you saw last season was, he came in some tough moments and was able to push through and be successful and give our team a boost. So, we're hopeful that can be the case, and we want to see how that looks with things over the next little bit here. And I understand that there's a lot of attention on the goaltending position, not just for the Oilers but around the league, and that's partly the way our sport is. Like, you get a lot of attention when you're the last line of defense, and they probably get too much credit and too much criticism, just in general, that position, because the spotlight is on you. So as a result, you have to have some resiliency, and I think Stewart has shown that, and the same thing with Calvin. So we're hopeful that they can get off to a good start here.
Stan, Leon got married in the summer, and there was a picture that surfaced, and he had a dart going. Is that a closed-door meeting, or does he get a hall pass for the dart at the wedding?